Baby Driver is directed by Edgar Wright and stars Ansel Elgort, Lily James, Kevin Spacey, Jon Hamm, and Jamie Foxx. What I'm about to say next will upset a few people. I think this film is overrated. Let me make it clear, a majority of this film was really good. In fact, I would call this film fantastic. But there are elements to it that didn't work, and honestly, I didn't think the initial rating from Rotten Tomatoes was 100% worthy. Even I wouldn't call this film 10 out of 10. So to get it out of the way, what didn't I like about this film? Honestly, some of the characters didn't work for me. And a lot of that had to do with the actors, as some of their performances weren't that great. And putting it out there, some of the performances were good. They weren't Oscar quality acting, but it was good acting. But some of the acting from some of the actors were crap. And the biggest elephant in the room was Jamie Foxx. This was the worst performance of the film. On paper, this character should be interesting and fascinating, but the performance by Jamie Foxx just ruins this character. And it's hard for me to point out what's wrong with this performance, but to put it bluntly, I found Jamie Foxx's performance to be irritating. Another actor that didn't wow me was Lily James. She's fine in some scenes, but in other scenes she's, much like Jamie Foxx's character, irritating. And speaking of Lily James's character, that's another problem I have with the film. The love story between Ansel Elgort and Lily James's characters. The love story between these two was one of the weaker aspects of the film, because the big reason why I didn't love this love story was I didn't buy the chemistry between these two actors. I didn't buy that these two were in love. I didn't buy that they would go all out to be together. I just wasn't convinced by the chemistry. And before I get to the good stuff, one more thing that really bothered me was the ending. The ending specifically I found to be frustrating. There could have been a dozen ways to finish this movie, but the one they went with kind of just felt, really? The ending overall was just pointless. So that's all the bad stuff I have to say about the film. The rest of this film was magnificent. Now, I said some of the characters weren't that great. The characters that really stood out to me were the ones portrayed by Ansel Elgort and Jon Hamm. These two were definitely the standouts in the film. Especially Ansel Elgort's character, because something I noticed with his performance was he rarely spoke, but the emotions portrayed by Ansel Elgort's character were the heart and soul of this performance. Just a simple look and expression from this character won me over. Another thing I have to praise is the attention to detail. When you see this film, pay attention to the opening titles, because what they do with the opening titles is clever and fascinating to watch. Something I have to give a big thumbs up to was the soundtrack. And I like how every song on the soundtrack is tied to a certain scene. So for example, a scene might be playing out, and in the background you hear a song that is eerily tied to what is going on. One more thing I want to bring up before I wrap up is the action scenes in the film, specifically the driving scenes. The stunts they pull off with these cars is phenomenal to watch. Overall, this film I would say is a bit overrated, but like I said, a majority of this film worked so much. And it's one of those films where all the positive stuff outweighs all the negative stuff. The acting from Ansel Elgort and Jon Hamm were phenomenal. The action scenes were really good. But then again, some of the performances didn't work. I didn't buy into the romance, and the ending specifically pissed me off. But overall, would I recommend it? Absolutely. And while I don't think this film is 10 out of 10, your experience with the film will differ from my experience. And I'm going to give Baby Driver an 8 out of 10. Thank you so much for watching. If you like what you see, be sure to like my Facebook page, follow me on Twitter, and subscribe to my channel below. As always, I'm NETX5. Thank you so much for watching.